Back to back. The reason I believe armed traffic is because the environmental laws are not enforced, the traffic laws are not enforced, and that has led to complete chaos in the state.
On your number one station for talk, 99.3
Nigeria Info.
This is the glass ceiling on hard facts.
What should you know about periods? On the glass ceiling, we discuss ways to destroy the invisible obstacles that prevent women and girls from achieving social, economic, cultural, and political equality in our society. Today, we're talking about periods again. We started this conversation 2 weeks ago. We continued it last week. We talked about how the needless stigma around periods can be an obstacle to women. So, for example, it's stopping many women and girls from getting proper advice and information about their health care. It's stopping the public from having meaningful policy conversations with government. It's been an amazing conversation, I have to say so myself. You keep asking for more. You slide into my DMs all the time asking me, well, where can I listen to the previous episode? Where can I listen to the previous episode? It's available on our website, nigeriainfo.fm. Go to the Listen Again tab. You scroll down, you find Glass Ceiling with Sandra Ezekwesili. Now, if that journey is too long for you, just Google it. The Glass Ceiling Show with Sandra Ezekwesili. It will pop right up, and you can listen to all the conversations I've had with our amazing guests. She's back again. She's been joining us from the very first show, Dr. Chioma Nwakama Akanno. She's a public health expert. Dr. Nwakama, welcome. Good to have you on the show. Okay.
Hi, thank you so much, Sandra.
All right.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Yeah.
Okay, Lagos, don't forget, I've been telling you all day, if you have questions, start firing those questions. So we're talking about periods, we're talking menopause, because menopause is inside periods. We're talking about women's reproductive health, essentially. So you have questions about that. Let's answer those questions for you right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Now, I'm going to go back to messages that we received on the previous episodes of this conversation, because we got quite a number of great questions, quite a number of great comments, Doctor. So I'm just going to, dive right into the questions so that we can get through as many of them as possible and then come back to Lagos. We've got a question here from Anonymous, who says, I don't know, I think we took this question then, but I'm not sure. I have an observation about, we did. And then you gave advice that, please don't shame her about bedwetting or things like that. Because this person was talking about during his partner's period, she bedwets, and she has a 5-month-old baby now. It occurred again. Some days ago when she noticed her period, she bedwetted. And I remember at the time that you said, well, have a conversation about it, go and see a doctor, and try to not, what's the word I'm looking for? Try to not shame her about this thing that's happening with her. So I believe that was what you said at the time. But we've got calls, so let's listen to some of the calls and hear what the questions will be. 99.3, hello.
Hello.
Good to have you on the show. What's your name, sir?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Clement Oyedele.
Clement, welcome. Go ahead.
I would like to talk concerning the Agberos in Lagos State.
Oh, we finished that conversation, but thank you very much for calling. 99.3, hello.
Hello, good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Yes, my work.
Thank you.
Please, I have a question that's important. I've been looking for ways to ask. I've not been getting.
Okay.
Please, I am 45 years by December. I'll be 45 years by December.
Okay.
But over 2 years or thereabouts now. Once I have period, once my period is about to come out, like a date to my period, I'll start having a severe headache.
Okay.
Severe headache until the period. My period normally lasts for 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
On the end, that is when the headache will stop.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'll be worried about it. I'll keep on taking pain, paracetamol or Panadol extra to relieve the pain. But the pain keeps coming until when the period ends, that is when the headache will stop.
I see.
So I want to ask
if it's something to worry about.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Dr. Nwakama.
Okay, hi, and thank you very much for that question. So if I can reiterate, she said she's 45.
Yes.
And she has headaches, and this started like 2 years ago.
Yes.
Am I correct?
You're correct.
Okay. The headache stops when she's done with her period. So
Yes.
from what I can deduce, it's likely period associated, since it comes with the period and ends after her period.
Yes.
So the thing I wouldn't know what could be causing it, especially since it hasn't always been there. You know.
Okay.
So what I would say, for her, she should go see a gynecologist.
Okay.
It could be because from 45, where we're now talking about perimenopause and she's getting closer to menopause.
Right.
So the hormones are having a play. There's an interplay of a lot of hormones going on,
Right.
which could be responsible for that.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So she's having those headaches, and from the sound of it, she's really concerned about it.
Right.
It's something. Because headache is never comfortable.
It is.
So she should go see her gynecologist or go see her doctor, maybe even a general physician to go check it out. I would say gynecologist because it's period associated, and also she's heading towards menopause. So it could most likely be associated with, as I mentioned before, during perimenopause, a lot of symptoms start coming up that weren't there.
Yeah.
So it's like it's down to that period. So
Yeah.
most likely what it is. But it's not something I would advise anyone to live with and say, I'm having headaches every time, every month. And all. So you should go have it checked out.
Okay. Again, for those who were not listening when you talked about perimenopause and menopause and all of that, could you give us like a very brief refresher? You know, what are the symptoms to look out for? At what age should you start being like, okay, well, these symptoms could be perimenopause or could be menopause period?
Okay, so the perimenopause period is the period just before the menopause itself, starts. So menopause is when a woman has not seen her period for 12 months stretch, consecutively. For the last 12 months, she has no month has been skipped. But for perimenopause, one of the things that you notice is there's an irregularity in the period. So it could come this month, not come the next month, So the volume starts to drop, the flow, the number of days, just this scarcity of your period, basically. And then it's associated with some of the symptoms in perimenopause are also there during menopause. You start having vaginal dryness, you start having hot flushes, like how people say they're having internal heat, in quotes. That's how Nigerians like they're just having this heat. They can't explain certain areas of their body. So you're having hot flashes or flushes. And I already mentioned vaginal dryness, headaches too. There could be headaches, like she just mentioned.
Right.
So there are a whole lot of symptoms you notice. And but most importantly, if you notice there is a drop in the regularity of your periods and you're like 45 and above, then you're heading towards menopause likely. So you should, if you have any symptoms that are concerning, because most of them are like, there are symptoms you could, live with. They're not so, they're not so distressing. They're not so distressing. So yeah, if you notice that you're having any symptoms you're not comfortable with, I always recommend you go see your doctor.
Okay. Yeah. I have to ask though, these hot flashes, we hear about it quite a bit. What are those? What causes them?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Hot flashes, what are they? What causes hot flashes?
Okay. So when a woman sees, the major hormones that are responsible, right, for our periods, we're talking estrogen and the rest. So whenever you're getting towards your menopause, there's a drop in these hormones. And just try and be very basic so I don't sound too
academic.
I don't sound too academic. Yes. So these hot flashes are like, let me describe them first. Okay. So it's like you're having this sudden feeling of warmth, like around maybe your chest, your neck, your face. For people who are fair in For we're dark skinned, so most likely this might not apply to us. But then if you're pretty fair, you could notice some kind of red or blotchy skin, redness on certain areas of your body. Some people complain of rapid heart or accelerated heartbeat during that time. So, some also have night sweats. That's another thing I wanted to mention.
Okay.
So there's nighttime hot flashes,
Okay.
that have, so they wake up and they are really drenched
Okay.
in the night.
As in sweating
So
for night.
this is actually
heat they do you for
caused by
night.
this changing. Yes, yes. So it's maybe even if you're in a cool
Inside
environment,
AC, you're so
and
hot.
that's not something that you're usually used to. Yes, and you're not just hot, like you're drenching.
You're drenched in your
you
sweat.
notice that you're really sweating. Yes. So yes, that kind of thing. So that's like nighttime hot flashes. So it's not really clear how this happens, but research has just shown that it has to do with the decrease in estrogen levels. That cause. So there's the hypothalamus, and that's in the brain. That's why I don't know how to say this without sounding very academic. But then just know that it has to do with an interplay of hormones. Mostly the estrogen, the drop in that estrogen, is linked to the body temperature regulation. Yes.
Right.
So which causes that? So it's not something that is just out of normal. It's because there's been that drop in estrogen. And that drop in estrogen is also what causes the vaginal dryness that a lot of women experience in that period. So you notice that during that period, sex becomes painful, because there's no natural lubrication, so they just notice not having the normal discharge. There's just this dryness they experience. Some people can go ahead, especially persons who still want to, who are still very much interested in having sex, upstairs, going upwards, sorry. So they could, or persons who experience I mentioned, you could have what we call the estrogen replacement therapy.
Okay.
So they take estrogen hormones, just to give them all the benefits that the hormone estrogen was given, while they were still actively, having their periods.
Right,
yeah. So that's basically what that drop in estrogen is what causes, what has been linked to it. So it's not quite clear how.
So is there something that women should be doing while these changes are happening to their body? Are there medications that they can be on to make it more manageable? Or is this just something that, last time you were here, we were saying, I beg, strong black women, not trope, is in the past. No need for women to suffer anymore, please. We deserve soft life and baby girl life, So, but is this one of those things that there's really no soft life thing around it? You have to go through it, or are there things that women who are perimenopausal and menopausal can do to alleviate these symptoms?
Okay, yes. So it's going to be addressed on a symptom by symptom basis. So depending on the symptom, most of them are things you actually might not be able to do much about. And here's the thing about symptoms. Those symptoms at the initial time, it's very, the symptoms are more aggravated.
Okay.
But then as they continue to go, through the number of years, as they continue to increase in age, the symptoms, the intensity or severity of those symptoms reduce. However, if you're having symptoms that are quite uncomfortable, like the hot flashes and the heat is becoming too much, you could go see your doctor, to check it out, because these symptoms they are not specific.
Okay.
Right? While they can be associated with this, we won't just say, okay, relax and, stay there. You could, because some of these symptoms, like I mentioned, the sweating, it could be something associated with the thyroid. So what I mean is not specific. It means this symptom can be a symptom of another thing. So you could just go check it out. It could even be a coincidence. It could be occurring side by side. So that's why I always advise that you speak to your clinician.
Right.
Yeah, so that the reason I say it's not because I can't say what it is, but I'm going to give a blanket statement which will not apply to everybody.
Yeah, which would be unhelpful.
Yes, so it will really be unhelpful.
Okay.
So if you're having any of those symptoms, if it's the hot flashes, increase, just try and make your room airy,
conversation because it's such a vast topic and people have right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info. We have connectivity issues. Yinka, can you tell
And that's why I
Tech
said it's
that
symptom to symptom.
Oh.
Yeah.
we lost you there for a bit, but we seem to have you back now. Apologies about that break in transmission. But yeah, I guess you were saying that you don't like to give prescriptions because, well, varies depending on the person. Yes.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes.
We've got a message here.
Yeah.
We've got a message here from Toyin. Toyin says, "Is it normal to have thick blood that looks like a small slice piece of beef on the last day of period, and it is usually painful when it's about to come out?"
Okay, thick blood, small slice piece of, that's quite descriptive.
I like it.
Okay, yeah. So I think I already have an idea of what she's talking about. It's a clot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's basically a clot.
I think it's normal.
So yes, it is normal.
Yeah.
It's normal. It happens to everyone. When it's coming out, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah,
You just
it's
pause
so
with it.
uncomfortable.
So
God.
that's why we should be having this conversation. So
So every
what's
woman knows you're normal, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is normal unless you're having those clots a lot. You're having a lot, like there are persons who see their periods, and the clotting is, you just know it's abnormal. It's like almost everything coming out is in clots. And then you should please go have it checked out. It could be a symptom of an underlying gynecological issue. So please go check it if that's the case. But then it's normal to have a few clots at any point in your period.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a message here. A friend of mine doesn't always menstruate every month, but she ovulates every month. Is that possible? What is the chance of her getting pregnant?
Okay, let me just go straight to the point. It's not possible to ovulate every month and not menstruate every month. It's not. So ovulation occurs before menstruation. So if you're menstruating, you're ovulating. However, there's something called anovulation.
Okay.
So yeah. So anovulation. Okay. How do I start this question without getting confused? She mentioned her friend doesn't see her period every month. So that's obviously a hormone issues and is a hormonal imbalance.
Okay.
It could be PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Okay.
So if there is that cause or irregularity in periods, it could be. But I can't say it's PCO. There are other things. They have to
That
be
it
about
could be.
3 things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's most likely a hormonal issue.
Okay.
There's an imbalance. That's why she doesn't see her period regularly.
Okay.
Can she get pregnant? Yes, because she sees her periods. Just that because it's irregular, she can't time it as much as someone whose period is regular. It can just catch her by surprise.
Okay.
You get.
Okay.
Unless she's actively trying to conceive. If she's actively trying to conceive, then there'll be a lot of measures for her to expect that. She'll discuss with her fertility physician when the time
comes.
Is right.
Okay.
There are also treatment for that.
Okay.
And if for the ovulation part, no, it's not possible that she's ovulating those days that she's not menstruating. So anovulation is, some people need their period in quotes is looking like a period, but it's actually not really their period because they didn't ovulate that month. So it's because of that hormonal imbalance. There's some kind of bleeding that comes, but it's permit me to loosely use this word. Let me say empty bleeding, because when I say empty, it's there was no.
There's no blood coming out, no egg.
Yeah, so blood coming out, but there wasn't egg earlier. So that's what we call an ovulation. So it's not possible unless she's tracking. The only way you can know if someone is ovulating when the person has this case of hormonal imbalance. Right. For sure is to track.
Okay.
And that's something you do in the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah, or radiology.
Okay, we're going to take a break. When we come back from this break, I have a question here from an anonymous mom who wants to find out if her 11-year-old daughter's stomach pain is normal. She says, my 11-year-old daughter started her period September this year. She's been complaining of stomach pain around her abdomen since then. Is it normal? Should we be worried? Now, Anonymous, what you do for us while we're on this break is give us a bit more detail. Is it all the time the stomach pain is there? Is it only around the period period, the stomach pain is there. These are, just give us a bit more detail, which will help us give like a general explanation. Let's take a break now. We'll be right back.
It's 2 minutes alphabets and African names with Auntie Norma.
Hi there, it's 2 minute alphabet and African names with me, Auntie Norma. Letter M on the menu today. Our alphabet menu. Miss Meiwa is about to meet a mischievous monkey. Maybe her pupils will make friends with him. I wonder who else has come to visit. Can you guess? It's a little creature beginning with the letter M. Makes a squeaky sound or noise. Yes, a mouse. Well done. Do you know a rhyme with a mouse in it? Like pussycat, pussycat, where have you been? Or hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck 1, the mouse ran down, hickory dickory dock. And can I hear someone singing a monkey rhyme somewhere?